a forgotten estate sale in rural America, a dusty wooden chest was cracked open, revealing a nurse's diary from the Vietnam War, untouched for over 50 years. Inside were haunting confessions, heartbreaking final moments, and a secret love story lost to time. But one final entry, written just days before she vanished, would leave the world in shock. Who was Nurse Evelyn Whitmore, and why did no one ever speak of her until now? If this story touched you or left you thinking, don't forget to hit subscribe. We uncover forgotten stories that deserve to be heard, and your support helps keep their memories alive. It was an ordinary afternoon at a dusty estate sale in rural Pennsylvania. The kind of place where you'd expect to find old vinyl records, faded furniture, and forgotten trinkets. But what historian Margaret Hale discovered inside a weather-worn chest would change how we remember the Vietnam War. Tucked beneath layers of old uniforms, in a tin box, wrapped in a medical sash, was a leather-bound diary, fragile, stained, and brittle with time. On its cover, E. Whitmore, 1968 to 1970, Da Nang. A nurse's diary from the war. No one had ever heard of Evelyn Whitmore, and yet what she wrote in those pages would ripple across the world and break the hearts of millions. Evelyn was 24 when she volunteered to serve in Vietnam in 1968. She was a fresh graduate nurse from New Jersey, the daughter of a steelworker and a Sunday school teacher. Kind, soft-spoken, and deeply compassionate, her diary began with hope, perhaps even innocence. March 15th, 1968. I've arrived in Da Nang. It smells of fire and flowers. Strange. The men here call us angels in white. I don't feel like one. Not yet. She had no idea what awaited her. As the war intensified, so did the tone of her diary. April 2nd, 1968. Jimmy, 19, lost both legs to a mine. He didn't cry. I did later, alone in the supply closet. I'm supposed to be strong. I can't always be. Evelyn wrote about hundreds of young soldiers, many no older than boys, some with fatal wounds, others with shattered spirits. She named each patient when she could. Her entries weren't just clinical notes. They were human stories. May 19th, 1968. Private Lopez asked me to write a letter to his mother. As he slipped away, I held his hand while he dictated. He kept saying, "Tell her I was brave, tell her I was brave." Sometimes she pressed flowers between the diary's pages, wild orchids she found near the tents, a fragile attempt to preserve beauty amidst so much death. Evelyn was not untouched by the war. July 4th, 1969. Fireworks back home. Gunfire here. I hear them in my sleep. I see boys with no faces. Sometimes I forget I'm only 25. I feel like I've aged 100 years. She bonded with fellow nurses, like Brenda from Alabama and Lucy from Detroit. They sang songs at night to stay sane. Leaving on a jet plane became their anthem. But slowly, one by one, her friends left the camp. Some transferred. Others couldn't take it anymore. A few never made it home. Evelyn stayed. For the boys who still came through the doors. For the ones who needed a mother, a sister, a hand to hold as they left the world. Midway through the diary, readers find entries that hint at something else. A love story. October 9th, 1969. Captain Harris smiled at me today. Not the kind of smile you give just anyone. It made the rain feel warm again. Captain Daniel Harris was a helicopter pilot, known for flying into enemy fire to save wounded soldiers. He and Evelyn would sometimes sit under the medical tent's canvas roof after midnight, sharing stories and stolen moments. November 11th, 1969. He gave me his dog tags. For luck, he said. I wanted to tell him I've already lost too many people, but I took them and I held on. But in December 1969, the entries stopped mentioning Daniel. December 24th, 1969. No choppers came back today. I waited. Maybe tomorrow. December 26th, 1969. They told me his bird went down. No remains, MIA. My heart just stopped. How do you grieve someone who might still be out there? She never mentioned another man again. As 1970 approached, Evelyn's writing changed. The weariness deepened. March 3rd, 1970. Today I close the eyes of my 500th patient. His name was Emmett. He liked fishing. I'm tired, Lord. So tired. But she also wrote about dreams of home, of seeing her parents, of drinking real coffee, of walking barefoot on the beach. She wrote about wanting to be a mother, wanting to feel joy again. Her last diary entry, May 20th, 1970. The war doesn't end when the fighting stops. It follows you. But I still believe in people, in love, in the kindness I saw even in hell. If this diary survives me, let it say one thing. We were here, and we cared. No official records confirmed what happened to Evelyn Whitmore after 1970, but a faint address in pencil was found on the back page. It led Margaret Hale to a small cemetery in Vineland, New Jersey. There, a simple headstone read, Evelyn M. Whitmore, 1944 to 1974. She gave everything. She had died of cancer, believed to be linked to chemical exposure in Vietnam. She never married. No known family remained. And yet her diary has now been read by millions online after being digitized and published by the Veterans Legacy Project. Thousands of Vietnam vets wrote in after reading the diary. One said, I remember Nurse Whitmore. She held my hand when I was screaming. I never knew her name till now. Another wrote, my brother died in her tent. Thank you for giving him a voice. Even a woman in California came forward. Her mother had received a letter from Evelyn in 1970, informing her of her son's peaceful passing. She made it bearable. That letter, I've kept it all my life, she said. Evelyn Whitmore wasn't a general. She didn't fire a weapon. But in a war that took so much, she gave something rare, dignity, comfort, and love to those on the brink of death. Her story is a reminder that some of the greatest acts of heroism don't happen on the battlefield, but in the quiet moments, by candlelight, beside a dying soldier who just needs to be seen. So the next time you think about war, remember Nurse Whitmore, because what she wrote will not only break your heart, it will awaken your soul.